Welcome to the Crawcast. I'm your host, George Krawczak, and these are my predictions for Week 14 of the NFL season. And if you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money. So the first game is the Detroit Lions versus the Green Bay Packers. I think the Packers are going to win. This is going to be a very interesting game because the Detroit Lions defense is very injured, but the issue is the Lions are never going to win a lot of games on their defense. They're going to win because of their offense. And so can the Packers shut down this high-powered Detroit offense? And it seems like Green Bay is coming off of one of their best games of the year. Detroit, honestly, is coming off one of their worst. Their offense did struggle quite a bit against Chicago, and we don't really know what they're going to be looking like. It is kind of interesting that they signed Jamal Adams and Quan Alexander. It reminds me of the Commanders, where when they signed Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, and Austin Eckler, and it's like, oh, this is an all-star team like 5 years ago. That's what the Lions are looking like Jamal Adams. Maybe he can start blitzing and replace Aiden Hutchinson. But I think the Packers are a better team right now. They are healthier. It was a little bit of a close game last time, and Jordan Love was just injured. He couldn't move, and he did struggle a lot. And right now, the Packers are just healthy. They're looking good, and they're looking like they're on their up and up. And then the Lions, again, they still probably have the best offense in the NFL. It's just that their defense is struggling quite a bit. And so who knows what their defense is going to look like now, but I just think the Packers are going to win. Next game is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Minnesota Vikings. I believe this is Kirk Cousins' return to Minnesota. I think the Falcons are going to win just because the Falcons really need this game. Kirk Cousins is really trying to save his career because he's at risk of getting benched for Michael Penix Jr. And I think it's a wrong decision to bench him right now, but just because I think their goal is to obviously win a Super Bowl, and I think Kirk Cousins does give you that chance, but he just needs to start playing better. Over the last few weeks, he's been playing terrible, but he should know the defense pretty well. He did practice against it quite often. And so I think the Falcons are going to win this just because they really need to win this game to keep their playoff hopes and divisional hopes alive. Although it really could go either way. Minnesota is a good team. They are tied with Philadelphia for the second best record in the NFC. And so this could go either way. I just think the Falcons are going to win. The next game is the Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to win. This one is just really tough just because, with the Browns, it feels like with Jameis Winston, they can definitely win or lose any game. I can totally, if you tell me, he played amazing and the Browns blew out the Steelers, I'd believe it. If you told me Jameis Winston played horrible and the Steelers blew out the Browns, I'd believe it. So this is really tough just because the Steelers did win last time, and I think the Browns won last time, and the Steelers are just a better team. It was funny when Jameis Winston said that he wanted God to deliver him from pick sixes. I'm gonna say that's not going to happen this week, and that the Steelers are going to win. Although I think it will be close. I think it'll be close for most of the game, and then the fourth quarter, the Steelers will just kind of pull away. Again, this is just Jameis Winston. I've always said this is he's on such a spectrum in the sense that he either plays great or plays terrible. There is no average of Jameis Winston. So I think this game really could go either way, but I'm picking the Steelers. The next game is the Miami Dolphins versus the New York Jets. I'm picking the Jets. The Jets have really been screwing me on predictions because I feel like I pick them almost every week, and they just keep falling apart. So this will probably be their final opportunity for me before I give up on them. It's just that Aaron Rodgers is trying to save his legacy, and the Jets are probably out of the playoffs. It is interesting that they're still starting him. I think they should just bench him at this point, and because they don't want to risk him getting injured, and also they just want their next coaching staff, head coach and general manager, to decide, okay, do we believe we can run it one more year for Aaron Rodgers and try to win a Super Bowl, or do we just want to completely blow this thing up and reset? And that'll be a decision for their new head coach and new general manager. And so I think they should just bench Aaron Rodgers and give their general managers an opportunity for that decision, because they don't want to risk him getting injured. But the Dolphins, they really got shut down by the Packers. They looked terrible last week. And I get it that their offense has been back and they have been playing much better with Tua, obviously. But their offense kind of fell apart. And both these teams are struggling a little bit. And so this really could go either way, and it's a divisional matchup and could go either way, but I think neither of these teams are probably playoff teams. The Jets are for sure not a playoff team, and then the Dolphins, maybe they can sneak in, but I think probably not. So both these teams are fighting for playoff hopes, even though I think the Jets are done. I just think the Jets are going to win. The next game is the New Orleans Saints versus the New York Giants. I think the Saints are going to win. This is another game where I feel like the Saints are going to win. Derek Carr has been playing better. Alvin Kamara's looked great. Marquez Valdes-Scantling's looked pretty good. It just sucks for them that Taysom Hill is done for the year, and who knows what his career is going to look like because of his knee injury. Because he is 34, although he doesn't have the same kind of tread on the tires as other players. And it's just tough because he also does move around a little bit because he is a quarterback, running back, tight end, wide receiver. He kind of does it all. So he does need his legs, and who knows if this is going to be it for his career or not. But I just think the Saints are a much better team. The Giants are clearly the worst team in the NFL, and there's just no hope for them. Drew Lock, I think, does give them a better chance than Tommy DeVito. But overall, I just think the Saints are going to win this, and it could be a blowout for the Saints. The next game is the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Carolina Panthers. I almost wanted to pick the Carolina Panthers, but I just felt like I couldn't do it. I have to pick the Eagles. Just the Bryce Young and the Panthers are playing much better. They probably should have won last week against the Buccaneers. They probably should have beaten the Chiefs the week before. And just now against the Eagles, I want to pick them winning, but I just think the Eagles are too good of a team. Their offense is too good, and the Carolina Panthers defense is too terrible that I think the Eagles are going to win. I think Bryce Young does have an interesting shot at making it close, but overall, even though the Eagles typically have slow starts in the first half, I think they're just going to pull away in the second half, and there's really no shot for the Panthers. Although it is good to see Bryce Young playing better and kind of saving his career, and definitely earned the opportunity to be the future of the Panthers franchise. The next game is the Las Vegas Raiders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers are going to win. The Raiders should have won last week, but overall the Raiders are terrible, and the Buccaneers are pretty good. Baker Mayfield is slightly injured from last week, but it seems like he's going to be fine and play in this game. Mike Evans looking great. Just Bucky Irving played great. As overall, I think Tampa Bay is kind of starting to put the pieces together and look much better. And then the Raiders, they are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They have zero rushing game. Aiden O'Connell did play really great last week, but it'll be tough if he can replicate that performance. Just overall, I think the Buccaneers are just a better team and will win. The next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee Titans. And neither of these teams are good, but I think the Titans are going to win. Will Levis has been playing better recently, and he's still trying to prove himself as being the Titans franchise guy. And I do think he will do that and play well in this game. The Jaguars defense is not good. Trevor Lawrence is probably not playing, so I think you're going to have Mac Jones, who did play pretty decent last week, but just overall, I think the Titans are a better team. I think Will Levis is a better quarterback, and I think Will Levis is going to have a coming out party and just is going to be playing really, really great this game because it's against a very terrible team. And I think he needs that in the sense where it's like instead of week after week playing high level competition, just have an easy game to show the Titans what he really can do and how he can potentially be the future of their franchise. The next game is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Seattle Seahawks. I think the Cardinals are going to win. It is interesting. Both these teams are pretty good. The Cardinals' defense is really great, and the Seahawks' offense has been playing great as of late. The Seahawks' defense does struggle quite a bit, and then the Cardinals' offense does struggle quite a bit. So I think this could be a very close game. It's a divisional matchup, and those are always super close. Just overall, I think the Cardinals are a slightly better team in the sense that I I think they have the potential to be better. The Cardinals are weird in the sense that they have a lot of great and terrible games and not a lot of average games. And I think the Seahawks have a lot of average games. And so I think this could really go either way. I'm just picking the Cardinals because I think they are a better team. And I won't rule them out for winning the division just yet. And the next game is the Buffalo Bills versus the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Bills are going to win, although I think this will be a much closer game than people expect. I don't think the Bills' defense is the greatest defense in the world, and so I think Matthew Stafford and Kyren Williams and Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua do have a good shot at scoring a lot on them. But overall, I think the Bills are going to win this by like a field goal or something like that. just because the Bills are a better team. Josh Allen is looking great. Amari Cooper's looking great. James Cook's looking pretty good. Just overall, it seems like everything is clicking for the Bills, and they are probably the best team in the AFC. And again, the Rams' offense is still good, and they are still trying to win the division. Just that the Bills, I think, are too much for them to overcome. Although this will be really close, I think. The next game is the Chicago Bears versus the San Francisco 49ers. I think the Bears are going to win. The 49ers are simply too hurt to win. Uh, Christian McCaffrey's on IR. Jordan Mason is on IR. They're just a very beat up team. And then we'll see what Thomas Brown can do, because I'm a huge fan of Thomas Brown. He was their passing games coordinator, and then he got promoted to offensive coordinator after their offensive coordinator got fired, and now he's promoted to head coach after Matt Eberflus got fired. And I just found that interesting, because I don't know if that's ever happened in the NFL, where you start as a passing game coordinator, and then in the same season get promoted to offensive coordinator and then head coach. Again, Thomas Brown, I think, is a good coordinator, but occasionally has the wrong strategy. Like against the Lions, I thought that was just a bad idea when they're running the jet motion of DJ Moore in the backfield, in the sense that the Lions' corners were injured and terrible, so just run 4 wide and leave the running it back in to block because your offensive line is terrible. That's how they could have beaten the Lions. So I'm nervous about their strategy, but overall, I think the Bears are a better team at this point than the 49ers, just because the 49ers are so unbelievably injured. The next game is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to win. It is interesting because the Chargers' rushing attack really struggled. They effectively have no passing attack outside Ladd McConkey, just because Quentin Johnson really can't catch the ball. And I think the Chiefs are going to win. Neither of these teams really feel that great, even though they both have really good records. I'm picking the Chiefs because I think this will come down to a controversial penalty or a controversial call, and the Chiefs will just barely sneak by with the win. Just because that feels like how almost every single one of their games have been ending this year, is by having a controversial penalty or just something unbelievably stupid happening, and they somehow get the win. And so I think the exact same thing's going to happen here, where there will be a controversial call and the Chiefs will win by like 2 or 3 points. And the final game of the week is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Dallas Cowboys. I think the Bengals are going to win. I think the Bengals have a great offense. It's just that their defense is really letting them down. And this is why I hate when people use wins as a quarterback stat, because I think Joe Burrow definitely needs to be in the MVP conversation right now because he's playing so great. It's just that his defense is letting him down. And it's nothing, and there's 2 sides of the ball, and there's nothing you can do if you have a horrible defense. It's just that the Cowboys' offense, even though they played great last week, it was against the Giants' terrible defense. And so I just think this is going to be a good get-right game for the Bengals. I think they're going to look really great, and I think they will win. Even though the Cowboys' defense has been better with, getting healthier, overall, I just think the Bengals are a much better team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this type of content, make sure to hit that subscribe button like it owes you money, and I'll see you on the next one.